welcome back to What's in My Drawers Golf Talk. And we've made it back from Florida. Why is it What's in My Drawers? Because old club makers are the worst pack rats. And I happen to be one of them. So that's what we talked about. It was a history, a lot of what was going on in golf based on what I was finding in my drawers. However, it's expanded now to where we're talking golf equipment, golf fittings, golf repairs all over the world. So, very good. So, as you guys know, we were in Florida last week and made it back, and it was just after all the snow hit. And hopefully, the U.S. was hit by a very terrific snowstorm. And it was when it reaches down into the West Texas project, which is the southern part of Texas, it's pretty bad. So at least, let's say it's very large, and there's people without power. So if there is any way to, if you keep people in your prayers or whatever, just let's see them get through this, and we'll go from there. So the thing we normally talk about, normally go forward, is who won the Genesis Open. And it was Max Homa. Max Homa. And apparently won in a playoff with Tony Finau, and they had to go 2 holes. Sam Burns, who I watched for 2 days, was on fire. And he only really dropped 1 stroke for 2 days that I saw him, played to a -2. But it's hard to beat the 2 guys going -7, -5. And then, again, our boy Jordan Spieth, I thought he was going to have a day with it, but went -4 total and shot even. But, not to be outdone, Sung Kang came in, and he made the cut and was the guy that finished at +10. And he finished +1 for the day amongst a lot of other people that shot in that same area. So congrats to all those guys. All right. Now on to what's going on. I know that Steve is going to be excited. Steve Polsky, I believe, is, if I'm saying it correctly, right there. First set going out. And they're going to Canada. So that's very, very cool. And I just like the look of this. I mean, this is just a super clean club. If you guys get a look, I mean, it's got player written all over it with a whole bunch of forgiveness. Now, I have hit these, and they do work, and they do feel really, really good. Now, I saw Finchy, he did a review on these here just recently, and was striping them, and the words came out of his mouth that, well, they're probably not as good as my Mizuno. Now, really? You're striping them? Come on, Peter, you can do better than that, man. He's a volume of words. And I love some of the stuff he does, but that was kind of took me back a little bit. But it's a good club. The other part is we're adding in the staff wedge. I dig on these things, man. These things are this staff model is going to be something. And this is the 50 degree. That's the reason why you don't see much of an indentation on it. All right, so we do have the shafts for most of them. And Steve, if you're watching, we are ordering the ferrules today or tomorrow. And that's where we're at. The other part is, let's talk about what we did. All right. I went to Florida, and I tried to get on the TPC Sawgrass, and it just was jammed up. So we went in with the second place finisher of the Pete Dye Valley course. And I tell you what, not disappointed at all. It cost for bang for buck. I thought it was a very, very fine course. And and we went in there, we landed, got the car, and within minutes we're in a typical Florida downpour. And for anybody that's been down there, I used to live down there for a little over a year with the wife. And normally in the summertime, it rains for about 15 minutes solid, and then it's done, and in about 5 minutes it's dry, and you don't even know, except for the humidity is about a bazillion percent. In this particular instance, when it's, in the springtime or early spring, I guess you would call it, it comes down like water pouring out of a boot, and it doesn't go away. And there's the issue. It tried to stand on the course, but Florida courses drain pretty well. And so I've got a few pictures here, and the Bob and Jim show were very, very in it. And if you see right in the back here is their version of the 17th at Sawgrass. It's a par 3, and we had a couple of members that we were playing with, some super nice guys, and we got the history of what it was, and I believe we all hit the green on that one, so I felt pretty good about that. Here's a better shot of it. We're all in our rain gear because we thought the rain was coming. Never showed up, so we stripped off the pants, and but that good little shot right there. Here is another hole. You can see just the secondary grass was still dormant, but the primary was dead on, and just a great look the whole entire way, and certainly worth the effort if you guys get the opportunity. We had a 4 caddy. His name was Todd. He was actually from Ohio, or born in Ohio as well, and got us around there, and I got around in an 82. Not bad for not swinging a club on a golf course since November. Not too bad at all. Then the other 2 places we were playing were the King and the Bear and the Slammer and the Squire. They're both associated with the Golf Hall of Fame, this guy. And that was definitely a, if you guys ever get to Florida and you have a bit of time and you're not doing the Disney thing, take a trip. There is a lot to learn at the St. Augustine Golf Hall of Fame. There's at least 2 solid floors, and if you went through, the first floor was a Bob Hope exhibit that you could spend an hour, 2 hours on, and then the next floor just went in all different directions. Talked about the Open, the U.S. Open, the players, the history of the clubs and club making, some activities like putting, walking over a replica of the Swilken Bridge, a USGA professional green and its stimp. It was a simulator that you could hit off of, and there was portraits, like oil painted portraits of all the inductee classes, and then their bronze facial, I won't call it a bust, but I did. Just this part of the face sticking out, 3D copy. And then you get into the locker room, and the locker room is each individual golfer put what they thought would represent them in each one of these lockers. And it goes as far back as, Tom Morris Sr., right? So there's a lot going on. Plus, when you're all said and done, you get to test your mettle in trying to hit some balls onto a green that's like 130 yards away, and it's all water. So it was a lot of fun. I mean, you get to see some stuff. And here's that's a representation of what we saw out there, King and the Bear. And this is probably some of the most perfect grass I think I ever came up on. And that was pretty cool. Then at the Slammer and the Squire, Bob and Jim with the thing in the back, that worked out really, really well. And then the things that we got to see while we were there, Mrs. McGolf found the Lighthouse. And Lighthouse was in, I believe, 1871, and looks a little bit like that. A little crescent moon in the background. And 219 steps to get to the top of that bad boy with a few landings. And we saw some folks struggling to get up there. We made it all about to the next to the last one, and the legs started getting a little tight. And it worked out. But this is what that looks like when you're going up. Flight of stair, flight of stair, flight of stair, flight of stair, flight of stair. Until you get all the way up or down, as the case may be. So once you finally get to the top, you get to see stuff like that. And just a whole bank of water going out into the bigger water, and a nice town that you can look down on. So it was an excellent thing, and some nautical stuff going on there, and I thought it was really great. Then, last but not least for certain, was the beach, right? And I was just out there taking pictures, and there's the bird. I thought that was a cool picture, only to find out later And you can't see it in the picture, but there's some dude lost his surfboard in the background. And you got kicked that one up. And then the one bridge that you had to pay to get onto, and it's lit up at night, has a big purple light that goes right all the way down the length of it, and you get to see it as it is there. All right, so that's the trip in a nutshell. If you ever, I would highly recommend it. If Bob's watching, I know he would recommend it. And we'll give a nod to the Sunset Grill and their chicken and waffles. Man, definitely something to go see. Get something to eat. Chicken and waffles. It was very, very, very good. All right, so I got through all that. And as we were waiting, we got about 100 deliveries, so we're still unboxing all the deliveries to see what we got. But before we get started into questions, number one, if you would, like and subscribe. Check out the video I have coming tomorrow, and it will be on the Golf Hall of Fame. And some just walking through it and showing you some of the things. Secondly, we finally did it. You guys asked me about this, and we did it. I got an apron with the McGolf logo on it. So I wanted to show you. There it is. Now this is the extra large. This is the extra large one. I've got two sizes. I got a regular and an extra large. And the regular, the difference between the regular and the extra large is basically a few inches. In that, if I put them together for you, if you can see the difference from here to here. So from that far to that far, that's the width, and then that's the length. And they both have the same size McGolf logo on there. So we do have those if you guys are interested. We'll fold them up nice and tight and put them in an envelope. And if you are, ask Mrs. McGolf and she'll tell you the cost, and we'll get them out to you. And honestly, all made in the USA, all the materials from the USA, made in the USA, and this is embroidered. All right, this one just happens to be, it looks kind of green. I think that's because of the purple, but they have white on them, white embroidery, so we should be good to go. All right, so we got all that out of the way. Let's go to the top and see what we have got. All right, and look, there's Stephen right there. All right, what do you say, Stephen? You were building a set. Yes, we are, and that's those right there. For me, with the I-Series, I would say no. I would say just go standard. Hard stepping those guys, you better be a very aggressive individual. Even 190 is very stout. You know, I can get 190 in mine, and stiff is more than plenty, and I don't lose it left or right. Now, that's with this. All right, if you're talking a tour, the more traditional ones, then no. But I would still say I would like it if we just went normal, okay? And like I told you, we're going to order we should send you the pictures of the ones, the mint green ones, and it should look really, really good with the shafts. I've got one sitting up here, and we looked at it, and so the color should match very, very well, so we should be good there. All righty. So if you got any other questions, just let us know. Oh, the other part is these are going to come with the logos already silk screened on. And you got to let me know if your logo is sensitive, meaning that do you care what position they're in? So when I balance them out, sometimes they'll be here, sometimes there, and all the way around. Or do you want them in one spot? So if you would, send us an email where you'd like them to be, or if you care. Okay, Dean, welcome back. No, I did not go to Whataburger. And I didn't even, I thought we were talking about Robin said In-N-Out, and I knew In-N-Out wasn't there, but Whataburger is, and they are very good, I will say that. However, we found a place called the Hurricane Grill, and Bob and Penny, the other couple we went with, absolutely went crazy for that. Now, I had one, I'm trying to remember where we had it. It was a double patty, And oh, it was an egg. It was in Hernando, and it was at the burger shed or burger station. That's what it was, burger station. And there's this little mom and pop shop on the side of the road, and they were killing it. And first time I had a burger with an egg on it, and it was really, really good. I'd certainly go there. Yeah, Ronnie, I'm ready for it too. If you can see in the back how the gray is back there, back there. That's gray. It's the snow is starting to melt. We are getting it went from minus degrees to freezing degrees to now just above freezing, and now it's supposed to rain and then get into the 20s tonight. So getting to work might be a bit of a problem. All right, broke my 7-iron indoor net. My net will probably be yeah, no doubt. I feel your pain, brother, on that one. Spence, how are you, sir? Hi from Denver, playing the Adams XTD TI driver with Matrix red tie. Man, I haven't seen that one in a while. 44. Love the flight, love the distance, but really hard to draw, and it likes out to start out right. 103 chef.
I did not say in and out. I said Woodburger.
Oh, you did not. You did not. There it is, the peanut gallery all over me again. The red tie in the day, Spence, was, I would say it was an average stiff club, right? And at 103, you're right at, if you're smoother, you're right at the base of trying to get that thing turned over. Honestly, if you're hitting it well, hitting a draw is not that big a deal, right? However, the only thing if you're hitting it well and you're loving everything about it, from a club guy, this is going to sound awful, but if you really want to draw it, I would just ever so slightly strengthen your grip. And both hands, not just one, both hands. Just tweak it about 1/4 of an inch and then let her rip. And there we go. Mr. Kent, how are you, sir? It's been a while. We're back. At least we've been given the date, March 29th, for golf to start in the UK. For sure, it's going to be difficult to get tee time, so practice ground for me. Check my data and check my data. Yes. I think, yeah, the March 29th, holy smokes. Hopefully you guys are getting through the inoculation periods and getting all that stuff and getting through it just fine. Of course, here we're lucky enough to be able to move around a bit. Ohio has been, I won't say stringent, they've been very cautious on their application of the rules and what's going on. Florida, on the other hand, has been a little less stringent. Now, I'll set this one straight because I was reading some articles, guys from New York going down there and thinking, oh, it's the wild, wild west of mask wearing down there. And that's totally not the truth. All right, I would say it has been the most common sense approach to everything as far as masking up and taking the distances and washing afterwards and all that stuff. They do that in many, many places, but we get asked, hey, make sure you have your spacing. People are very polite about it, but you go outdoors and that goes away. And when you're eating, it goes away. And it's not like everybody's walking around there with no mask on doing nothing. They're very, very conscientious about what's going on. And I think being outside helps, to be honest with you. And so hopefully you guys can get to that point as well. All right, hopefully newfound warm-up will allow some golf to be played soon. Thank you, Matt. I think so too. Do you have a favorite warm-up routine? How did you feel after the rounds in golf in Florida? Well, I found somebody was talking about a warm-up routine in stretching, right? Shoulder stretching, walk, and doing it with clubs in the hand, getting the tempo down with some smaller clubs, stretching the backs of the legs and side to side, a few more swings, and I'm ready to go. Now, with the swinging, it's about getting tempo and not dropping shoulders or anything, just keeping centered. Once I do that, I know I'm going to have a good round. So it's a good question because in the bag I'm playing. I will tell you this: that I played the Epic Max LS with the Acura Tour Z, and I absolutely killed it. I was offline. I can count on out of 4 rounds of golf, I can count this many, and just was throwing it out there. And the funny part was I started out kind of cautious, and there's a fella in that first group had a beautiful swing and just crank it out there. About the fourth hole, I'd had enough of that and put a swing on it and surprised everybody, and that was it from there on in. Absolutely think it is and I had the Maverick before, and for all you guys think, hey, should I switch up? It's bang for the buck. Is it a better driver? In my opinion, yes. Yes, it is. However, if I was, would I draw, I wouldn't throw away the Maverick. Maverick was a good club as well, but I just think the Epic's better. About the rest of it is the irons. I did some, testing here on my irons, and they flew just about the same down there. And the best, I was a little shorter going down there. However, the best I got away from was I never really got a fully solid hit. Those ones you get right on the screws. Never did get that, and I still got them out to where I could manage getting them around the course. Didn't lose them left or right real bad. And I found that I really, really, really need to work on my short game. Holy moly, is that a hole. And everything was wet. So when you play in wet environment and you go to take a little bit of that grass and it takes way more than you think, we were running into that. So, but I'm happy with it. I just can't wait for things to firm up a little bit more. Kevin, what's your thought on KZG and sub 70 iron heads? Have you done any builds with them? Kevin, I used to be a KZG dealer, and the quality of their make, I believe, is as good as, they're a smaller company and they have a lot of offerings, and I do think that they make a quality product. Sub 70, I am not aware that you can get heads only from them, and the amount of lefty stuff available is slim at best, and so we've really never come to the conclusion to even look at them. But KZG for sure, they had at one point they had a forged and cast head that were exactly the same, which really lent the credence to can you tell the difference. And I used to test people on that, and you'd be surprised. It was about a 50-50 split. They couldn't tell. Mr. Paul, hopefully you're doing good. Stress test Wednesday, can't wait. Nice. Let's get you taken care of, buddy. That's what we want. All right, question. What would be a better 18-21 or 19-22 hybrid? Well, if you're going to go comparison 1-to-1, 1 degree at that particular point, I don't think is going to make too much of a difference. If distance is certainly the one most important factor, then 18 and 22 to be sure. If a little bit of height, I would go the other way with it. And then I would go with that. But and that basically, Paul, if we're looking for distance, 18 and 21. However, I don't see you missing too much for going 1 degree. Dave, how are you, sir? Safe and happy, I hope. And we did. Thank you very much. We really, really enjoyed it. I think it was a needed break after quite a long time. We're finally seeing the path out of lockdown in the UK. Thank goodness. A few more weeks, months. Golf back open. Good to hear. So, guys over there in the UK, if you're not too tired after your round, I want to hear. Take some pictures and send them over, and then I'll put them up. That would be the way to go. I'd really like to see what golf looks like over there right now. Mr. Phil and Miss Edinburgh. Golf allowed in Edinburgh 2-ball only. Really? Well, and look at here. Speaking of that, let's see if I can get you in there. There it is. There it is. And I hope I'm saying it correct. Glenn Dornach? Dornach? Yeah. It's there. Mr. Jack in Lombard. The Slammer and the Squire I liked, but I like the King and the Bear better. And I only say that because I think the Slammer and the Squire didn't drain as well, and we ran into rain almost every night at least 5 out of the 7 nights. And both days at the King and the Bear and the Slammer and the Squire, we started out with a threat of rain, only for it to dissipate. And the King and the Bear basically just drained better. And we were at cart path only all 3 days. It didn't bother me so much, but Bob has an issue with a knee, and so walking was a bit of an issue. But he tore it up. He tore up the Slammer and the Squire pretty good, and then the King and the Bear, we both did pretty good on that, I'm going to say. I like the King and the Bear is a little more woodland, I would say, where the Slammer and the Squire is a little more resortish, as you can tell by the pictures in the background. But I did like either one of them. I mean, I'd play them both again. All right, Willard, what do you say? Guessing we got you to thank for bringing us some warmer weather. I'm going to take that credit, because when I left, it was getting horrible. We were the last bird out, basically. All right, how is lie angle affected by adding a 1/2 inch of iron length? A little flatter. So the longer you go, you need, in order for it to be the same, you need to bend it flatter. Okay, does that make sense? If you want it, so if you want to, it's a 1/2 degree. So for every inch, it's a degree. So 1/2 degree, 1/2 inch, 1/2 degree. I would bend it down. There's Cliff. Got a winter golf question. Okay. Let's see what you got, man. Now sunny and warm. Henry, I hope you guys have got your I don't think you got your windmills back just yet, but I did look into, because my other career is in power generation, and I looked into the reason why the reason why some of those power plants weren't doing what they were doing, and it wasn't necessarily the water per se, but the sensing lines. And in reality, you would think that once they found the issue and it got beyond the freezing weather, that you could put those back on and recover. Now, as I understand, it takes a little different with their distribution setup, but still, you could get in there. I know we were feeling it because we were running some lines out here that were at capacity to get you guys power. Thank you, Mr. Bartholomew. Thank you very much. And Fort Worth, hopefully you guys are not snowed in anymore. John, how are you? Dave from Michigan. I know Michigan still got snow. All right. Is there any particular reason why when you're removing ferrules, you pull the ferrule back from between the ferrule and hosel and work it towards the butt end? Yes, there is. And it's because I am making room to put it on my shaft puller. The shaft puller has a wall on it about this far, and so we'll do it like this. So if I go to pull this, I pull it back this about the width of the ferrule, because the shaft puller will sit in here like that in order for it to rest against there. So all I'm doing is making room for the shaft. By the way, you guys see the Shrixon video? What'd you guys think? Not too bad, right? They did pretty good. Okay. There's Cliff. He's going to ask it. How cold is too cold that might harm a nice new driver, wood, or hybrid if you play? Personally, Cliff, I wouldn't go below 40. I know there's guys out there that play into the 30s and they get it out there. But I say it's much akin to playing those glow ball tournaments. I think glow ball is a fun thing to do, but I would never use my primary driver in a glow ball. I can tell you from personal experience, I've watched 2 driver faces cave in from hitting the wrong part of that golf ball. And the same thing could happen in there. Now, I'm sure we could go lower, but as a safe precaution, I wouldn't go any more than 40. Now, I have played in colder temperatures and nothing happened, but that was once. If it was a routine, I would think that you're tempting fate. There's my man from Sweden. Danny, what's going on? On your vacation, what was the best course you played, and which was the most expensive, and which gave you the most bang for your buck? And Robin does not play. So, I would think that the Dye Valley was probably the nicest course that we were on, and it was also the most expensive. And you can go there. It was that was $250 and included the caddy. Now the Slammer and the Squire and the King and the Bear were cheaper by about $70 to $80, and they were $10 apart. So that's the reason why I say that. King and the Bear was very, very nice. And they all rated in there, but certainly the Dye Valley for what you get, what you're at, where you're going, in my opinion, was a good one. Bang for buck. Bang for buck. I don't know. For $250 with a caddy and playing on a Pete Dye course, I think that was still good value. Because you still got to go through where the guys from Sawgrass go to play. They had a really good practice facility that was open where the other ones were not at the time. The chipping area, putting area was fabulous. And the drive-in, and I know this has nothing to do with golf, but it does set the tone. When you drive in and you're driving along the inwards, it had some of the most perfect manicured grass I've ever seen. All right. Is it the realm of possibility for someone with small hands to be optimally fit into a mid-sized grip? And the answer to that is yes. And how does that occur, you ask? Well, if you were to hold the grip very deep into your hands, right? Very deep into your hands instead of out here, you could easily get there. Also, if you have let's say you have like arthritis or something and you just can't get the squeeze on, certainly. Mr. Cameron, how are you, sir? Just put my driver together from scratch by myself. Wow, very cool. Golf Buddies, who's been building for 12 years, sim driver with tailor-made Z-cord grip and a Graph Tech shaft. It was easy from my perspective. Well, very good. Glad you got her done. Now the real test is, and I'll put it in your head, is now when you go to put it together, and then you go to hit it, and then their first question is the head going to fly off? It happens to everybody, man. Not flying off, the question that gets in the head. All right. Is there any particular reason why when you're... I did that. Okay. John, what are your thoughts on Jumbo Max grips? I think they're very much a viable option. We did a couple of videos. If you go back to my single length video, I was able to hit some, and they were the lightweight non-tapered variety, and I thought they played just fine. Bob, who I golf with, plays either the mid or the large. I believe the mid. And it's a game changer for him. He just absolutely gets it way out there with that. And you've got to be prepared for a bigger grip. And if you and one of the things with Jumbo Max is if you just grab it and you hold on to it and you go, wow, that's really big. No, I don't think I'm going to like it. That's not giving it a fair shake. You really need to put it on a club. I'd only test one if you're really that interested. Go out and test one on one that you're going to hit quite regularly so that you get the feel of it, and then see what you think and see if it does what it's supposed to do for you. Now, they do have a sizing chart on their website. I would suggest that you follow that sizing chart. And then that way you know what to pick, so you're just not picking something that's outrageously big. And try it, and then see what it is. And if you only do, it's only at the cost of one grip. All right. If my irons are 1 inch, should I add an inch to my all of my wedges? I would say yes. And you're not one of those guys that scrunches over a wedge shot, but as a whole, I would say yes. The wedges, in my opinion, tend to follow the irons as far as length goes. They may not be, well, yeah, but they go in 1/4 inch increments. Everything's 1/2 inch down to the pitching wedge, then quarter, quarter after that. But yeah, I would add the inch. Sunny and hot Queensland. Well, apparently you didn't get any of the snow, Greg. And well done, sir. Well done. All right, Henry, how far off can lie angles be from straight installs? For example, if I am confident on measured lie angle before a reshaft, should they be after? Can reshafting beads help? Honestly, you should not be impacting lie angle by just changing out the head. And there's only the interior of the hosel. When they say a 370 shaft, right? That's the exterior diameter of the shaft as it goes into the hosel. The hosel itself is a 380. So you got a 0.01 difference, and it's got to fill up an entire circumference. So if you're dividing it in half, you got a 0.05 on both sides, or a 0.005 on both sides. So there's not a whole lot of room for getting a degree or two out of there. So I wouldn't necessarily sweat that. Now, if you're pulling and tweaking and grabbing and doing whatever, and you're manipulating the head real hard, now there's always that possibility. But for a normal shaft pull, like on a steel shaft, I don't see it. Or even to doing a shaft pull on a graphite, I still don't see it. Now, can shafting beads help? I always use shafting beads. And the idea is that it centers it into that hosel, and it's just a thing for me. Another one of those where you just like doing flow and spine, whether you believe it works or not, at least I'm building a consistent club, and that's what allows me to do. Jerry, what do you say from Texas? Hopefully. Oh, tea time on Wednesday. No shaft puller, but need to pull a shaft adapter from a broken Callaway. Well, Jerry, there's one way of doing it, I would assume. So number one, in either case, you're going to sacrifice the ferrule. All right, that's going to happen. If you don't, I would be surprised. Okay, and so what I would do, try this. You're going to have to do one first. Number one, hold on to the broken shaft. Heat up the adapter and give it about 30 to 45 seconds, and then cut that bad boy just above the ferrule. And then put that adapter back in, or put the adapter back into the head, and then cut it above the ferrule and start step drilling. Step drill, step drill, step drill, step drill until it's all gone, and then wire clean it out. Should be good to go. And that's how you get around it. Or invest into a very, very inexpensive one and just take your time. All right. Jim, with your clubs you have for fitting for length, what lengths are they? And is each a 1/2 inch or 1 inch increments? Also, do you use 7? What weight and flex have you chosen for this purpose? Oh, sorry, Dave. So I use 6 irons. And the idea was I didn't want it easy. I didn't want people to make it easy to hit a club. I wanted it to be a challenge. And because when you have this challenge and all of a sudden one shows up, it's for real. Okay? Now, the same could be said of a 7. However, I think the 6 is a better choice. They're easier to hit. Well, 7's easier to hit, but you could get really, really close on a couple. But that's the reason why I like the 6. Now, there's a lot of 7s out there, and the reason why most OEMs choose a 7 is because a lot of people will hit one very, very well. You know, when you go out, what's your favorite club? Well, 7 iron or 8 iron. That's because it's easy to hit. Okay? I'm trying to find the right length for a person, not the easiest club to hit right at the very moment. Now, my lengths are in half-inch increments, and I start at an inch below and go to an inch and a half above standard. And I use standard weights, the regular 120s. In fact, these clubs are so old they have the old Dynalites in them. If you guys remember that, what the Dynalites were, but 120-ish range with a standard rubber grip and a standard head, because all we're doing is we're trying to find the length. It doesn't have to be fancy, because you're just looking for length and length only. And then what you can do from there is a lie angle test for that length. Then from that, you just put those away and you get into your testing phase. All right, what blasting mitt is etching iron faces that are chromed? Well, so Scrunchy, there's two things that go into sandblasting. It's the pressure that you sandblast at, and the media, and then three things, and the tip that blows it out. And in order to be, you can be precise, you can be general with it. And I have found I normally used about 80 pounds of pressure, and I used very fine glass beads. And it made a dull gray finish. It wasn't very rough, but it was a nice dull gray finish. Now, you could use what they call Black Beauty, which are the welding grit. I called it welding grit. It's a black sandblast grit, and you can find that stuff anywhere. And you can use that, and I would maybe lower it down to maybe 70 pounds and play around with it a little bit more, because even if you run it at 70, it doesn't look like, and you want a little bit more going on, crank it up and then just go over it again, and you should be good to go. Cliff, we went by Osteen's twice, and we had every intention of trying out that shrimp. And every single time we went by that place, it was jammed, and which is a testament to the shrimp that they had. There's more than a couple of folks were just all raging about it, even at where we were at. Man, that place is great to go. And we made two special trips. One time we were just driving by and went, oh, Osteen's, and off we went. And then the other two, we were like, we are going there and we are going to eat. And we went at these oddball times just to try and beat rushes. Nope, didn't happen. And we just basically got shut out. We wanted to go to Amici's too, and the same thing. All right. Saved yourself $700 there, Jim. Play it some other time. I did, Kent. The TPC Sawgrass was really our intention to go, and it was $600 to go play. And no, and had I been able to golf with Bob, because as a pair, I would have certainly have done it just for that, that check one off, but. They only had singles left over, and why am I going to pay that kind of money not to golf with the guy I wanted to be golfing with? So, and honestly, even the members were telling us is that they like, They like the fairways at Sawgrass better, but they like the greens at the Pete Dye or the Dye Valley course better. And they do go over there and then play that, apparently. Alrighty, Cameron back. Glued the adapter and trimmed the butt and the shaft and everything myself Was wondering if I could join your live via video so people could see and talk about golf from an amateur. Well, I don't see why not. We could do that. We'll get that together. Send me an email. There's Mr. Al. We did, sir. We got about 5 rounds in. After we got done with those places, we went over to Ocala, and I was able to get onto the Ocala Country Club thanks to my cousin. And we got to about hole number 6 and just got rained on. And we were, Bob was playing very, very well. I was playing average. And so they closed down the course, and on the way back to the house, we go by this course called the Preserve. And it's a budding young course. They've still got a little bit of work to do, but the greens were nice, the tee boxes were nice. Fairways, I give about a 70%, and the second cut of rough, that needs a lot of work. But in the 2 to 3 years since I was there last, it is a marked improvement, certainly worth the effort. And we got around to about hole 12, and the rain came again. I convinced the group to go play some more to see if the rain would die down. It did, and it got to hole 13 and played through 14, and then it came down. And I had to give it up because everybody's getting far too wet. Unfortunately, I had the round of my life going. I was on string there's a big assumption here that I was I was shooting nothing but 4s all the way across. And if I could have done that, that would have been probably lowest round ever for me, and would have broken 80 quite regular. But being dry was the better part of valor on that day. And we ended up going to a place called Red's, a great sandwich place. Oh my gosh. You want to talk about a hole in the wall. This place was phenomenal. It makes a sandwich it's a gut buster. That's all I can tell you. It's just a gut buster. All right, what does swing weight and vice versa? So Scrunchy, a swing weight that's too light, basically what happens is that you lose it in the swing. And when you're bringing it back and you get right here, it's wavering in here, and it can make your dispersion get wide. Okay. Also, it can throw off your timing just a tiny bit, and either hear it in one of those or one of those. But it doesn't feel as solid, right? It doesn't feel as solid. One that's too heavy, it's nice and easy right here, but in a lot of cases, typically in younger folks, it causes a drop, and because it's just too heavy, causes this drop, and depending on where the weight is placed in the swing weight, you can leave it open or leave it shut, and it will be very repeatable, and that the fault will be very repeatable, and so that can be too high of a swing weight. Now, as we say this, I am going to preface this. I'm going to preface this with, as long as it feels comfortable with you and you're making good contact, I would just say that feels pretty good and move on. I'm a big believer in total weight is a bigger driver than swing weight. Okay, the total weight. When you pick that club up and you can say that it's pretty comfy, that would win the day for me, right? That would win the day for me, as opposed to, is it D4? Because I can make a D4 club not perform very well, as opposed to one that needs to be, mid-range weight. So you got to keep that in mind. What is the laser clip you use to check flow? Well, I do have a video on that, on how I made that, Henry, but the clip, it's a homemade deal. It's a 3/8 cable clip with an adhesive back. Those things you can go to Menards, Home Depot, Lowe's, any one of them's got it. And it's on a base about that wide, and it's a 3/8 inch. And it has, you see how it has the hook, and I have another hook underneath of it, so it looks a lot like that, right? And what I do is I cut off the back end just so that I have the hook piece, and then I switch them around and I glue them together, or I stick them together because they're adhesive. And that's my holder. The laser, the laser is a laser keychain I get from Office Max, and as I understand it, Office Max, at least here in our neighborhood, is going under. So hopefully they have an online presence to get it. Now, is that to say that you can do that? You can go find if you find a laser with a smaller button, you can use a smaller clip. You can do that as well. And that's what I use to clip onto that. If you're one that wants to attach, I know Golf Mechanics has one that slides over the adapter, and it takes, the head's heavy enough and it takes place of the head. It's not the same geometry, but if you wanted to do that. And but I would check. I think he also makes another one like that we're talking about. It's more of a metal version of it, so it's a little more robust. And the laser is actually integral to the hookup. And somebody else made one. I'm trying to think who that was. A guy out of Club. I don't know if he still does, but look up Club Scout. He made a very inexpensive frequency machine in the day, and I know he got older, but it got bought. And I don't know if they're still doing it or not. But look up Club Scout. Steven, what do we got here? Golf Hall of Fame is a cool place, but I never played the courses. Yes, it was. The Golf Hall of Fame is outstanding as far as I'm concerned. And the first floor is always a rotation of different celebrities, important people that were involved in golf. I've been there for Bob Hope, Bing Crosby, and Arnold Palmer so far, and it's never a disappointment. And of course, you guys know I'm a crazy nut when it comes to the old school stuff, and when you see stuff like Archuloni and Patrick and Morris and McEwen and all those other golfer guys making that stuff, it's just too cool. I just sit up there and I study the grips and the heads and the way they were making it. It's just nutty. Any famous golf clubs at the Hall of Fame? Well, actually, there are. If you go to, as far as golf clubs go, in the players exhibit, one of there's a gold ping putter as a representative. You know, when a player that is using the ping putter or gets a gold-plated one and goes in their museum, he actually had that put in there, and there was something about a two-wood driver back in that time frame that was used from that era, and there was a few others. My most favorite one was the 6-foot Callaway demo driver that you get to see at the very beginning. I thought that was pretty good. Aaron's back in the sunny California desert. Yeah, I bet everybody's just not thinking you're all funny with all that snow around it, but good for you, dude. All right, David, what's the rule of thumb for how to use the right amount of shafting beads, i.e. how much is too much and not enough? I use it more from a cooking standpoint, David. It's just a touch. I'm touching it like this in order for it to come out, and I just give it enough to sprinkle across the top. I don't need to fill it in. You sprinkle it across, just give a layer, and then mix it in real good. Back from the dark ages, Tom. Good for you, dude. Hopefully everything turned out well and the family survived. You see all the news reports where, people were in 20-degree weather or 30-degree weather in the house and whatnot. Hopefully you guys got through it good. There you go, bud. That's what we're talking about. Jeff, what do you say, bud? Did you bump any tour players, no laying up guys, or chocolates fit? No, we didn't. The not laying up guys, didn't see any tour. It was a little early for the tour guys. Trying trying to think of where some of them would have been. A little early for those guys to show up. The chocolate stuff, I would try to get the girls to go to that chocolate factory, and I believe they went by it as part of the tour, but never really went in. It is, Aaron. It is a good trip. I would certainly recommend St. Augustine's. There's just in the middle of town. They bill it as the oldest city in the U.S. and starting in the 1500s. And if you like that type of stuff, the Fountain of Youth and the settlement where they were at, and it would be the first church from when they were standing there, and they fired cannons, and they showed you how to hollow out canoes, and you walked amongst peacocks, and very interesting little tour. And they take you out on a train, worth every penny to go out there and just stop off instead of driving from place to place. The Lighthouse, I thought, was a very, very cool thing. If I would have known there was more stuff in there than just the Lighthouse, I would have tried to get there earlier. But it was very cool from what we saw from just a visitation part. And as Jeff was mentioning, the chocolate, there's a chocolate factory. There was a couple of distilleries to go visit, all this different stuff, and then surrounded by all that golf. Then you're about a 25-30 minute ride to the Hall of Fame. And that could be an all-day affair as well. Get to the top here again. Well, there you go, man. The Clearwater area is very nice as well. Oh, I got the 5 minutes. All righty, Travis from New Jersey. But the component back order list is crazy. I'm not sure if it takes a special person to just get components only, Travis. So, but everybody's having that issue. I'm having Mizuno's back ordered, Srixon's back ordered. Wilson's caught up now, I believe. And Callaway, we don't do that with them, so we're just now getting there. I've been waiting almost 5 weeks for putters just from Mizuno, and I got the Type 1s, 2s, and 3s in, and all very nice to be sure, but it's just certainly I'd like to be able. They were very good. It was like you order it, and then 2 days later, it's on my front door. This waiting weeks is a killer based on trying to get stuff done. All right. Have you seen customers choose higher launch angles from C-taper light iron shafts? General thoughts? In comparison to the C-tapers, yes, Russ, we have. We have seen it get a little bit higher, and that's kind of what that's for. It's for that aggressive guy that wants a little bit more snap into the ball. Certainly like that shaft. I'm a guy that I like that 105, 110 area, and that's where they live. And I think it's a good shaft. I have a hybrid head and a shaft broken right down near the hosel, and it's all frayed, and I cannot get it out. What do you recommend? Josh, if you just heard what I was talking about pulling out the adapter, I would do the exact same thing. You're going to have to heat up the exterior of the hosel, but don't stay any longer than 20, 30 seconds in any one spot. Go around it for about a minute and commence to drilling the thing out. Cliff, can you offer us a link to a home grip stations that works and that is affordable? The two places I would go, one is Golf Mechanics and the other one's Golf Works. They both have everything from what I would call the beginner gripping station to something that is industrial strength. And depending on what you believe is affordable, you can do something as easy as mounting a solid vise to a bench and putting a speed clamp in it, and then and hold a drip pan underneath of it and be good to go. That's one way of getting it done. If you're looking for something with a little bit more flair or even a little bit more functionality as a display piece, then I would look at those two. I'm sure that they work with each other, but they have different design philosophies, and I would check them out. But certainly give them both a look before you go and order. All right. Hopefully, Bobby, I'm going to make sure that Robin sees that one. And make sure if you want to talk regular or extra large. These are actually quite thick. I actually got it. What I did is I demoed a few, and I thought the first ones were a little bit thin. These guys are extraordinarily thick. They're like they're just shy of a canvasy kind of feel. I think a washing, they're due for a wash, but 3 pockets. Oh, I should, just so you see it. 3 pockets, one here in the middle, and one on the end, and they're very, very large. I've put whole sets of golf clubs in there, and then an adjustable neck. So, because I got a big old neck, and then and this is the thing that the reason why I like it so well is that these guys right here. Normally, when you get these things, that they're very short, and that just kills me. And these guys, in both the regular and the extra large, are very long. I like that. So they both fit very, very well. Alrighty. It does sound like a drink, and they did have one, sir. And although I had something else, I was a little bit stiffer in mine, and it was very, very good. Ooh, Red Robin, that's close. We can do that one. Robin had something she really enjoyed, but for the life of me, I can't remember what we ordered for drinks. All right, good evening. Question is on the Sim 2 Ti Fairway Wood different from last year's model? David, I'm going to have to follow my sword. I'm not much of a tailor-made guy. The Sim 2 versus the Sim, I would imagine, is more in design principle than it is anything else. Normally, from what I've seen, if it was really a big deal, we'll put it this way, the internet would be abuzz if it was something else. Surprisingly so, the one fairway wood that I've seen that's been getting a lot of love lately has been the Mizuno one, which is shocking, and that they've been doing very, very well. Now, is it to say the Sim is bad? No, not at all. I think maybe that it has that piece that sticks out at the bottom is more from a soling aspect. It might be a bit larger to help you out. Short of that, I can't say anything bad. And if it's a TI fairway wood, it means it's going to have a little bit more spring in the face. Steven, I play the LP irons. Those things are exactly what they say. I'm thinking switching out of the standard shafts for Aerotech steel fibers. Any suggestions on whether I should switch them out or not? Or, and hello from Tennessee. Okay, Stephen, the Aerotech steel fiber 95 is an extraordinarily nice shaft. It depends on what the standard shaft you've got with the Wilsons. You will certainly see a feel improvement, to be sure. And if you were going, if you're talking about steel standard shafts and it was in the 110 to 125 range, chances are you're probably going to hit a little bit better. The steel fiber is going to be a shock absorber, so it'll feel better on your joints, and we'll go from there. But I can't, outside of that, I'd say you're okay. I'm looking in the background. I forgot to show you guys this. So went to the Hall of Fame and went to Bill Murray's Caddyshack, and we got that. And then at the TPC, I got that little pin flag. So I don't know if I started a hobby in collecting pin flags from famous places to go. but I've got that. All right, Sonny V, what do you say, buddy? We did, and again, I'd go back. I'd go back. I'd try this time. I would probably go a little further south. The LPGA courses were only about 30 minutes away, 45 minutes away in the southerly direction. I would certainly try those out for sure. But the place that we stay, I thought was very, very nice. For with the view to the beach and the location, particularly across from the chicken and waffles and whatever they had going on there. And that was very, very good. Raining here now, temps in the 40s, going to be temperate. Yes, I'm with you, buddy. I am with you. Can't wait break. Yes. I am there with you. Alrighty. Aaron, what do we got here? Starting to redo grips, cleaning, polishing, grinding services in the neighborhood, keeping it low key as a hobby, make a little money. Thanks for inspiration. Thank you for Aaron, thank you, buddy. Appreciate it. I'm glad that you're getting into some of that stuff. But watch out, man. It gets under your skin. That's kind of what happened to me, and now look. So very good. Really good news in the Max LS. I may have to give the a code. Yeah. I know you're a gamer, and the LS is the low spin model, and that's always been my issue. And again, lessons are always a wonderful thing, and I took one from Mike Malaska, and I plan on taking another. But this one has really helped me get through the driver to the point I went from the FX shaft to the Tour Z, and I dropped about 800 RPM. Now, that could have been the shaft, it could be me, it could be the head, it could be everything. But that's a significant drop, and it just related to length. And I've been able to keep, and with the slider, I'm able to tweak where I want it to go, and I was able to keep it kind of middle, right, center, which is what we heard. The ongoing joke between me and Bob is the caddy when we were at Dye Valley was, you want to keep in the middle or right middle of the fairway? Middle, right? Well, no kidding, middle of the fairway. Would you never, ever not want to be in the middle of the fairway? In the right center? And we said, okay. But it was funny. We got here. Your driver is the number most wanted. Is it really? I did not know that. Well, I'll be darned. That's kind of funny because, Golf Spy and Callaway have a kind of a tenuous relationship at best. And to have them put it in there, I bet that may have hurt a little few feelings, but good enough. I'm glad that they tested it out and it worked out well. I like it. I like the looks. I like the sound. I like the way it's going. What we got here? The Wishon 918 is still competitive, and the driver lie does matter. I'd say so. My irons are 4 degrees upright, and I can get the 19. Yes, you can. I do like the 919. I still have them. Let's see where they're at. Right there. And they do stand the test. I don't think that they're out there with the rest of the club anymore, rest of the drivers anymore. They've been, however, they were one of the first ones to introduce cup face technology. And when they did that, when they first came out, they were beating almost every OEM that was out there. Now I think they're probably due for another upgrade, and when they do that, it will certainly be a club to be reckoned with again. That's okay. Maybe that's one of the reasons why to go back, Cliff, is to go see Osteen's, because it certainly was looking pretty good. Dave wants to know, I am gaming the Chrome Soft from 2020. I use the one with the lines, not the soccer ball. I used the soccer ball in the past. I can hit it again, but it just so happens I just had the ones with the lines, and that's the one I use. Up until just recently, I never used the lines, and I started using them when putting, and sure enough, it helps. All right, 2 more, and we got to go, guys and gals. Can you build a Callaway Maverick 4, 5, 6 irons with US Roy coil 2 degrees upright? John, I don't get them in component, but I'm certain that I can get that stuff for you and have them put up to that level, and we can do that. Give Robin an email, and we'll do that. Yeah, PA's under it too, Dan. I mean, it is under it. So we're getting ready to be not under it, but it's getting ready to be icy. Alrighty. Oh, got two more here. Going to bend a slider. Wait a minute. What are you going to do here, bud? Going to bend a slider 3 iron from 19 to 20. Any tips on bending? Put a graphite project 6 with an inch tip. Going to play it 3.5. It's going to be short. You're going to be a 1/2 inch short. Dude, if you don't have a bending one, hey, yeah, Arnold Palmer tried to put it in a vise and did it and didn't mind. If you don't mind the scratches, he used to do his with put it in a vise and hit it with a hammer, or put a wrench and he would bend it too. So what it's just the reversal is that like Ping would hold on to the hosel and they would put on this bending bar on the face. It would grab it like this and you would bend it one way or to another. That's one way to do it. Honestly, without having you in front of me, man, in order to show you what was going on and without any tools, that's a tough one when we're talking about bending it. But if you're going, well, I'll call it prehistoric, and you wanted to, I would find a vise with smooth jaws, right? Smooth jaws so you don't dent the face and the back of the club, and then try and get some grabbing device to push it one way or the other. All right, they're on me, so I got one more here, and then we got to go. Phil from Scotland, thank you, sir. Any recommendations on cleaning products or types of cleaning products that are good for cleaning up clubs? Yes. So for grips, I would use nothing more than hot water and a coarse towel, something like the tour towels that you get, right? This stuff right here, it's a microfiber and it's very coarse. And you use the hot water and you just clean it like that until it squeaks and you're good to go. If you're trying to remove verdigris or rust from a steel shaft, then a Brillo pad, SOS, Scotch Brite, something along that lines with a light detergent. Same thing for the heads in order to just clean it off, because you're not trying to polish it, it's just cleaning off the crud. And then in every case when you're done, you want to put a coat of wax on it, because if the chrome is peeled off, you're exposing what would be raw metal, and it can allow it to rust even faster. Okay, that's what you want to get off of. Another one is if you have some kind of burnishing going on, Barkeeper's Friend will also do it, or something along that lines. Okay, guys, I am well past my limit, and I'm sorry I can't get to everybody again. Please keep your... I'm going to look at most of these, and we're going to go through them, but if you have any questions, put them down in the show notes of the video, okay? Put them down in the show notes of the video, and we will certainly get to them. Don't forget that tomorrow we'll have the Golf Hall of Fame, a real quick tour of what was going on. And then we'll get back into the regular cycle. If you're interested in, let me get these back down here. If you're interested in something like that, we do have them. Send an email to Mrs. McGolf, and we will get them out to you. And then again, guys, thanks for taking the time to watch. I know you guys are up late in a lot of cases, and I appreciate it. Stay safe, and let's see your scores go low.